Okay, started. Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin Abbott, and this is my internship presentation on the YMCA Child Watch Center. So how did you find or arrange the internship? So when I was starting to look into the kind of internship I wanted to do, I was faced with a handful of challenges. When I had first started thinking about it, I was working full-time in an oil company, which had nothing to do with my major and didn't exactly provide a lot of spare time for an internship while working full-time and doing school full-time. So I eventually quit that job once I had a baby, but this presented another problem. I didn't have family that lived close enough by to watch my daughter, to leave her home with, and I didn't trust nor could I afford a childcare service, especially when she was only 6 weeks old. So another challenge was my major itself. As for my proposed career path, a major in child development would have been appropriate. However, due to circumstances, I had to finish my degree online, and the closest thing available online was marriage and family studies. So I had to find an internship that helped put my child development education to use, but also helped families as a whole. So as luck would have it, or perhaps divine intervention, I mentioned this dilemma to the moms in my Playdate group and found the perfect solution. One of the mothers told me that she was working at the Child Watch Center at the YMCA. She told me that she began working there because she loved kids, as well as liked the idea that she could kind of be doing something to help benefit others' health. So after she had her baby, she was able to keep working there because she could bring her daughter along with her. So this covered all of my bases. I only had to work 4-hour shifts a day. I could take my baby to work with me, and I could be in a situation to use my child development as well as my marriage and family studies coursework. So after that, she put in a good word for me, and I filled out an application and was lucky enough to be able to get hired. So what responsibilities did you have in the internship? My main responsibility at this internship was to provide a safe and clean environment for children to play and learn. This allowed parents an opportunity for some often much needed alone time to either exercise, catch up on some work, even just take a shower and get ready for the day, or just sit and relax for a few minutes by themselves. The only requirement we had was that they remained on the premises while their child or children were in our care. We had many different games and activities for the children that were entertaining as well as educational for different age groups. At the end of each shift, so the morning shift and the afternoon shift, we sanitized all the toys, vacuumed and swept, and made sure the center was just, clean and tidied and presentable. We had different crafts as well as coloring pages for the kids that usually coordinated with the current season or holiday. We also had to be on the lookout for things like behavioral issues or physical altercations between the children to be able to report them to parents. Every Saturday night, we held Parents' Night Out. So this is where parents could drop their kids off between 6 and 10 p.m. and then they could leave the premises to go on a date night. So the kids would be divided into age groups and assigned to certain workers. And they'd go through scheduled activities that would have to do with whichever country they were visiting that night. And we would all end up together watching a movie until parents came. And finally, we provided childcare for infants as young as 6 weeks old. 6 weeks old. So this included feedings, diaper changes, naps, and so on. How did you benefit the site you served at? So I truly believe that my education in childcare and child development was a huge benefit. I'd like to think that I was able to help the other employees develop a better understanding of why children behave in certain ways and the different stages they kind of go through as they grow. I also think my education in marriage and family studies was a benefit to the parents who brought their children in. I had several conversations with parents about how the chance to exercise and improve their health made a huge difference in their home and personal lives. Or even how just the chance to enjoy some alone time seemed to help them kind of reset and be prepared to take on the rest of the day. So how did you benefit personally from the experience? Here is me and my daughter on our first day of work together. She loved it and was so excited. So I feel like I was able to benefit both in my personal life as well as educationally. So I think it was a great thing for me and my daughter to kind of get out of the house a couple of times a week, shake up the routine, kind of give that sense of accomplishment that you might not always feel as a stay-at-home parent of one. Lakin also loved the opportunity to go and play with all the other babies and watch all the big kids. I think it was a great way for her to develop her social skills early on. It was also really nice for me to meet other moms and to create bonds with and kind of discuss parenthood with and save my sanity a little bit. But from an educational perspective, it was a great opportunity to put what I've learned into action, as well as to see different principles and theories in real life situations rather than just in a textbook. Describe one important connection between your coursework and what you experienced during your internship. So I feel as though this answer could be twofold in my situation. As I had mentioned, my marriage and family studies coursework and my child development coursework. So for the first, I think the biggest connection I saw was of that between personal health and family health. Throughout the coursework, we talk a lot about ways to create a happy and healthy home and family life, ways to come closer to God, closer to a spouse, closer to children, to siblings, etc. So there's a lot of factors and situations and circumstances that play into it, and a lot of theories on how to do this. But one thing I noticed consistently throughout this internship was how much of a factor personal health seemed to have in all of these aspects. As I mentioned in several of my journals, there were so many times when parents would drop their kids off and they would just seem frazzled or rushed or just kind of at the end of their rope and ready to be done. But by the time they came back and from exercising to pick up their kids, it was like all of those problems had been, if not washed away, at least calmed down a bit, I guess. Whatever had been stressing them out before didn't seem as big of a deal. They were usually relaxed, happy, definitely excited to be back with their kids. I truly believe that as a parent, by taking time to take care of yourself and making sure that you feel good, you'll be in a much better position to make your home and family a happy and healthy one. And then in terms of child development, one of the most interesting connections for me to see during this internship was the reality of Erickson's stage of psychological development. When we have that many children of all different ages, from 6 weeks to 10 years in the same space, you can't help but notice and compare the many differences in behavior, cognition, attitude, understanding, etc. It was so interesting to see these different stages come to life in each of these children in their own unique ways at their different ages. So would you recommend this site or experience to other students? And if yes, whom should they contact? So I would absolutely recommend this site to other students in the Dallas area. I loved working with the people here. I love the children and the parents. The supervisors are great to work with you with any needs or difficulties that you might be having. There were a couple of times when I would have to ask for an adjustment in my hours, or Lakin would just be having such a hard day when we came to work, and they were so good to be understanding and accommodating and to help me out wherever they could. So if you're interested, here I have listed the contact information. The supervisor is Christina Fletcher, and it's for the White Rock YMCA in Dallas. And that is my presentation on my internship.